Lady Ada, what is this?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to a live edition of Show and Tell. It's me, Lady Ada.
Hello.
With me, Mr. Lady Ada.
Down to the wire.
Down to the wire. We'll tell you a little more about our schedule today. It's boiling hot outside. There might be rolling blackouts. We'll try to stick with you as much as we can. But we're going to check in now with people from around the world, staying cool and being cool by making awesome electronics, hardware, robots, music, and more. Let's check in with some folks in the Adafruit community.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I have to fill my microphone.
You do.
Somehow you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So loud.
Well, they got mine too.
Okay.
Let's start with Liz because I was talking to Liz before, and Liz not only has probably an amazing electronic project, but it looks like a woodworking project as well. Take away.
Yes. Yeah. So on the weekends, I've been doing a lot of woodworking this past spring, and this weekend I finished building an amp synth shelf here, and I will make it the full camera now so I can pan and show you what I did. So I'd always wanted to be able to have all my guitar stuff and synth stuff together. And by making this, I'm finally able to do that. So I've got a pedal board here, and it's made using this technique called pattern plywood, where you take the strips of plywood and you cut them into strips, glue them together, so then you have the grain actually showing, which is what people usually want to hide. But then you can cut them to make these different like kind of zigzag patterns you can see here on this leaf. And then on the actual pedal board, we've also got a zigzag pattern. And at the bottom of the amp shelf, there's like a kind of like a basket pattern there. And so everything that's on here is I have my guitar pedals there, my guitar amp that I'm able to have at like an angle, keyboard for my synth shelf, an old patch bay I use to route everything. And then on top is my Eurorack cabinet that I used to have on the other side of my desk. And so this is all built mainly out of plywood and pattern plywood. And then the edging, I used actual hardwood like walnut, and the legs are oak, and mainly used the table saw and basically table saw and a lot of glue and kind of dowel joinery to get it all together. And so I was able to finish it this weekend. I'm really excited about it. Was able to do all the actual wiring and patch-based stuff Sunday. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
What was the total time? Because I know sometimes I start projects and I won't do it unless I know I can finish it in a weekend or whatever. What was your?
I kept saying to Noah like every Saturday, like I think this is the week I'm gonna finish it. But it took like probably 6 Saturdays total.
That's
and
not bad.
I think
It's really not that bad.
Yeah, I mean it was a full day. It was like 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Going, but yeah, a
lot of sanding, especially those little thin parts, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah, trying to get everything smooth, and it's the first time I've ever made anything this big too. I've usually only made like small things, so making sure it would actually support the weight. Like my first kind of draft that I brought home the first weekend, it could not support the amp, so I had to like go back in and like figure out how I was gonna do it. So
looks great. Heirloom amp holder.
Yeah, I was gonna say the neat thing about this is like every layer of it has more to the story.
Yes.
And every little bit of it, even the code that runs it, is handcrafted and it's yours. This is really neat. Excellent project.
Thank you.
Take some macro close-up photos.
Yes. I definitely will.
Cool. They're cool backgrounds for your phone too.
Yes. Nice. Yeah. And I might do a playground note. I did design it in Fusion, and it was my first time kind of getting like a cut list out of it and everything like that too.
Yeah.
So.
And we all have like bits of wood that are like not great, and you can collect it. You can just save them all and then do something like this.
Yeah.
That's why I love the pattern plywood too, because like normally plywood you want to like hide it, but this you're kind of like purposely exposing it, and you can do some really cool patterns with it.
And then did you epoxy over it?
I just use shellac as a finish just because it wears well and you don't have to worry about any VOCs.
Just sand it down, I guess. It looks fine.
Yeah, sand it, shellac, and
it looks like inlay. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Liz.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, and you were working on something cool we were talking about before show and tell. What you got this week?
No, and we can't hear you.
No. Do you want me to hello? How about I come back to you?
Scream, and when we hear you scream, we'll come back.
I'll check in with you after Erin. And so you got a couple minutes. All right, let's go to Erin. Hello, Erin. What you got going on this week?
This week I have a fantastic. Oops,
sorry, I moved us out of the display.
I don't want this here. I have a fantastic new hat. It's So what I've done here is I made a little arrow, and the point of this is not to have wires in my face, but when I go to a big party or a festival or something like that, and you get lost from all your friends, suddenly everybody at the whole party can see where you are. I'm calling this the Here I Am hat. And I wore it out to a party this weekend, and it's really fun. It's got these little ball neopixels, and I'm using the brand new Sparkle Motion stick controller with it, which is super neat. It just plugs right into your USB battery, and it has a little screw terminal. So this is, almost a solder-free project. I had to do one connector because I wanted to be able to take the hat off without keeping this out of my pocket. But this Sparkle Motion stick, it's got a microphone on there, so I can make this thing sound reactive. It's just a cool little board and really fun to use. I'm excited about it. It was really easy to set this up. So I just published a tutorial up on the Learn System, or about to today, tomorrow, something like that.
Yeah,
So
maybe tomorrow.
And I wore this to an event this weekend. Everybody just loved it. I had strangers coming up to me and they're like, "There you are!" Like, because from just all the way across the crowded room, you could just see me wherever I was.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. It's like a little, it's like Sims arrow pointing down at you.
Exactly. It's a little.
There you go. Sweet.
And then I have one more little thing that I have started up too, which is this really cool edge-lit acrylic laser cut panel, which I'm very excited about. It just turned out absolutely gorgeous. So.
It looks very cool. And we're going to do a guide, but this is going to be a different type of guide because Erin is a professional who makes all sorts of art and amazing experiences. And you have tools that you use, and probably going to show, like, here's how I approached this. I had a deadline. I did these things. I wanted this beautiful art and a little bit of electronics, but also a little bit of maker biz that I think we're all going to have to deal with is, how do you run a maker biz? What do you do with assets nowadays? Where do you get them? Where did you laser cut it? What tools did you use? There's probably 5 different ways because every file format's different. So I think that might be a neat, more how it's made, but also looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm quite excited. It turned out really beautiful. So yeah,
nice work. And someone's going to combine this. They're going to make the inlaid plywood thing, and they're going to have a jellyfish.
Yeah, cool.
You can combine the projects.
I love the intricacy that it looks like woodcut. It's ironic.
I've seen some mandala things where they do multiple layers of plywood with slightly different laser cuts, and then you get LEDs between the layers, and then that can make a really cool cut. So one of these days I'm gonna take that on, I think. So
all right, right on. Well, thank you so much, Erin.
Okay, thanks, Erin.
All right, next up, JP, what you got going on this week?
Hey, I've got a cool, very easy to put together project, almost the opposite of 60 hours of inlaid plywood. Let me share this screen here. Hopefully you can see this. This is, let's see, almost no solder. I had to solder these encoder knobs onto, or the encoders onto the board, but this is our little Stemma quad encoder board. I got 2 of them side by side. Lamore designed these to space perfectly. And then also, I don't know if this was by design, but our little 8 neopixel PCB strips, if you lay them end on end, 3 of them match the same width as 2 of our encoders. So this is modular. I can do 16 knobs if I want to. I think that's what I'm going to do for the guide. So I have this nice long strip of knobs that are setting the note on-off information and pitch information for sending out MIDI. So I'm just going to turn up the volume. We hear wherever there's a green light right there, that's one of the notes that can play right now. And hopefully you can hear that. And I'll just adjust the pitch of one of these knobs. And then I can turn on and off some of those notes just by pressing our little push encoder there. I'll turn that back down there a little bit while I talk about it. So all circuit Python. I created the code with Claude, and I, on my live stream last week on John Park's workshop, showed how some of that process works by adding features. So I actually have added a whole bunch of scales. This is just a major scale that it's pulling from right now, but I added Western scales, Eastern scales, Indian Raga scales, all these different scales just by asking Claude to do it, because that's well-known info that it was able to go out and grab and populate some fields. And I made a little separate module that's just the scales that can be accessed from the main code there. So it's working well. It seems like it's keeping time well up to around 240, 250 BPM. Again, working with Claude, I was asking to just check knob positions after the 4th note and the 8th note. So each of these only gets pulled on its own, not the whole thing. So I'm trying out some little coding tricks by getting good ideas from people. Actually, my friend Todd Kurt was saying, well, how about trying this? And then instead of me trying that, I had Claude try that. And so I'm kind of managing Claude and creating the CircuitPython code for the little MIDI.
Yeah, Claude is definitely like your very well-read intern, right? Like you got to manage them, but they will do scut work for you. Like enter in all the notes and like the scales and convert it to hertz. You know what I mean? All that stuff.
Right,
Convert it to like a MIDI, convert it to MIDI offsets.
Yeah, that stuff it's great at. And what I did on this project is still only 200 and some lines of code. So I went through it myself, changed some things to read the way I want them to read, adjusted some stuff, and then fed that back to Claude. Say, okay, this is what we're working from now. And it's like, okay, cool, got it. I won't change anything other than what you asked for. So it helps in this case for me to continue to understand how it's working and why it's working without getting overwhelmed by all the Claudeness of it. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, and just on a related note, so we're trying to show our work when we're using new tools, even if we don't like them. If you watch Rapid Render with in Pedro, there's tools you put in a prompt or something, and it's like, I want to make a vase, and it makes you 70% of the way, and then you can start doing other stuff. And a lot of the things that JP's doing and Lamar and our team, it's experimenting with some of these AI tools. I really think they have to change the name because there's prompts and image generation. We're doing stuff in like terminals, and it's I don't know, it's like a programming tool that cuts and pastes for you a bunch on data sheets. But it's interesting because there wasn't any education for everyone about what AI is. So it's like, oh, this is going to destroy the world. It's going to save the world. It's going to make jobs, kill jobs. And the way that the people are using it, I think, like we are, it's a tool that's making things and sharing our work, but it's making us more efficient. And it's not, it's only allowing us to do more and hire more people. We could do more. So eventually, long term, I think it'll be called something else. Like, don't think they should just call it AI or LLM. No one could say it. But you have a programming tool that we didn't have access to until now. And I was talking to a couple different team members. They got some projects out, and the things that they did, they could have done it. It just would have taken them 6 hours instead of 6 minutes. And it's a very gross process that involves taking things like PDF sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's why we're talking about this. We're not advocates for anyone, but I do want to get a little bit of flavor with this. Obviously, JP had to do a lot of work.
The good thing is, it's like you look at the code afterwards and you're like, well, what did it do? But it does get you quickly to the I want to see something happen.
Or not, and you fail faster so you can go on to the next thing. I use it a lot. I use some of the tools to be like, here's a bunch of information. Like, what are the things that I should be aware of? And usually my hunch is right about like, oh, this is a waste of time. And the robot then tells me to.
Okay, sweet.
All right.
I'm looking forward to seeing this on the Learn Guides and on your show.
All right.
Right on. Yeah, and I'm gonna build a little case for it, a little acrylic laser cut kind of case for it, and I'll do that myself in Rhino and Grasshopper, and not let the LLMs anywhere near my 3D model.
No, that it doesn't not good for. Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like I'm working on some code right now that it's like feels like, can you have LLMs do it? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, this is not. I can just tell. I'm like, it will not be able to.
I'll tell you the other thing, because like I have a spectrum of friends that the people that love these tools and hate these tools. That's one thing, but there is one thing that unifies everyone when they find out what it's not good at.
Sure.
They're like, really, tell me more.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to know what it's not good at. That's what unites us. Well, there's a lot of things that AI is not good at, and we should all explore that together and celebrate it, and maybe think about what other things that we could do now that only we can do. Okay.
Yeah, and I'd rather spend my time 3D modeling than trying to optimize the speed of this code, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm picking my battles.
Yeah, like everyone wants more electronics, not a data sheet successfully extracted by data, but those are
handcrafted data sheets.
Let's go together.
Right on.
She has a cold. Okay, we'll
see you tomorrow.
Bye, JP.
We'll see you tomorrow, JP. Thank you so much. Tim.
Next up is Tim.
What's going on, Tim?
Hello. Hi. So
yeah,
I have been working with the new revision of the FruitJam hardware, which I think has been shown on like top secret in a couple of other places. So the cool thing about this one is that it has the ESP32 coprocessor, which means that it can access the internet. And one of the things that I have been doing to play around with that and test it out a bit is working on a basic IRC client. So I am connected up to Libra chat. I don't know if that's how they pronounce it or not. It does have an A at the end, which is I guess a modern IRC server. I found this one from the Python project. There's an official Python IRC because of course there is, and this is the server they're on. In continuing the theme you were just talking about, I did want to mention the basic code for this. I actually did start with Claude Code. I kind of had it write an IRC client using just the socket module. At first it wanted to go out and use libraries and all kinds of stuff, but I had it make it with just the socket module for CPython. And then that interface is very similar to what we have in CircuitPython. Once it had that and it was working, I had to correct a few things for it to get it to work. But once it had that, I was able to convert it to CircuitPython very easily. And so I have on the left here is the FruitJam output. It's fed in, HDMI through a capture card, so I can show it on my screen here. And then on the right, I have like the web interface for this IRC joined to the same channel because there's a web browser one as well for this one. So I can type in here like hello show and tell, and it will hopefully show up if everything is working there. So it refreshes.
Neat.
It
The
puts
left
that in there.
is the capture card from the FruitJam, and you're typing into the keyboard plugged with the FruitJam.
I am typing into
Oh,
my
sorry.
computer here on the PC in the web. So right now the FruitJam is not taking any keyboard input. Right now the FruitJam is only receiving the messages and printing them, but keyboard input is next for sure.
Okay, well,
and there
Adafruit
we
just
go.
joined.
Ops, give me ops.
We're
there you
hacking
go.
it.
We got it.
So you can now read messages. It's actually really cool. Like you have an IRC reading client. I like the colored text too.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the latest and greatest that I was working on today was ANSI color codes in the terminal, or I built like a terminal wrapper that kind of goes around it. But it's able to parse those ANSI color codes that work in any sort of standard terminal, and then set the colors based on those, and you can reset at the end. And so just before the show a bit here, I was tinkering with this to get it to show the colors on the different names, and it will keep track of all the different people, and it will assign a different color to each person. And then, once you get like 6 or 7 people, it will start reusing them. But until that, it'll be like everyone gets their own, and I'll always show them with the same color. That way, if you're trying to follow the conversation, it's easier.
That's so cool. This is
Yeah,
great. All right.
Super excited to hack around some more on this. So
Yeah, this brings back all sorts of memories. Good work, Tim. Hack to Planet. Put that in there. Neat
Yeah,
that I was typing in and I could see this. And I think one of the things we talked about is once these FruitJams go out, everyone will be able to talk to each other in an IRC channel, and all the Adafruit folks.
Yeah, maybe we'll just have this be the permanent.
This is going to be the new internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New social media. Facebook is over.
Everyone had their chance.
yeah.
All righty. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yep. Thanks.
And-
See ya.
And deep dive this week.
Deep dive. Yep. Deep dive will be on Friday. I may be working on this still. Probably,
Yeah.
definitely something FruitJam related. We'll see
Yeah.
how far I get on this tomorrow. But yeah, definitely will be around doing something.
Yeah. IRC, I was only on it like 10 years. Yeah. So good luck.
I lost all of mine.
Yeah. I've been 10 years in a row.
Teenagers.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
All right. Next up, we're going to go to CGrover and then Mehdrad right after that. CGrover, take it away.
Hey there.
Hello.
I've got 2 things to share with you.
Yeah. Whoops. Darn it.
Hold on.
Sorry.
It's a book I found that
I know exactly what that is.
electronic adventures from
Yeah.
the 1950s and the 60s, which formulated my childhood and my interest in electronics. And some guy had an itch, and he decided to get a bunch of old popular electronics magazines, extract the articles, and put them in 5 volumes. And I've just been loving the heck out of reading
Yeah.
these old stories. I remember most of them, it turns out, but it's kind of fun to go back through these. And so anybody that grew up in the time period that I grew up in, and if you're interested in electronics, this is a pretty great find, I'll tell you. Anyway, so
I have a question for you. Did you ever read any of the history or any of the things about Carl and Jerry on Make Magazine?
no, I didn't.
Oh, good. You're in for a treat.
Oh,
I got
I'm gonna
obsessed
look
with-
that up.
I got obsessed about this, and we managed to contact, like, I was curious when this came out, because maybe because we put this on Make, someone saw it and decided to do that. So we found the comic strips, and we found people to talk to. Could we post these? And then we started getting more information about, like, why did you make this? So anyways, I'll find it if the Make site still has my old articles. This is like 15 years ago. But when I saw it, same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, how come no one knows about this? They're delightful electronic cartoons that teach you something, like a mystery, and like you have to make a radio and solve. It's really cool. They should remake it and make it a modern tale or something like that.
It's pretty old technology that they're talking about, but
Yeah.
The guy that put it together decided, well, I'm going to write a couple of new Carl and Jerry stories and use some new technology, but in the
That's
same
cool.
spirit of adventure. You know, it's really interesting because they solve all sorts of crimes, and they do criminals. They do practical jokes. I mean, it's just you know, as a kid, you kind of aspire to do all the things.
Marvel could make 10,000 movies out of this easily.
It's so much fun, but that's really not why I'm here. But it turns out I can't share my screen for some reason.
All right.
But what I've got is a little device here. I'm booting it up now. It's a thermal camera that's internet connected, and it's connected to Adafruit.io. And it takes a picture in my garage whenever I leave the soldering iron on. Let's see if I can turn this so you can see it. There. It's showing the thermal image of my computer right now. And it just uploaded an image to AIO. It determines if there's motion or if I exceed a certain temperature in the garage where my workshop is. And it shares that with AIO because AIO has an image capture capability that really works well. I was kind of shocked. But the thermal camera now, I can set it out in my detached workshop, my laboratory as it is, where I've got soldering irons that I accidentally leave on, and I've got an air conditioner that I need to keep the place cool. And so monitoring temperature out there, and I did an article already on my corrosion monitor that's out there. But the corrosion monitor, if I leave the soldering iron on, it would take probably 3 years to heat up the garage significantly enough to detect that I accidentally left it on. So getting a thermal image of the workbench, I can tell right away if I left something on or a window open or something like that. So that's what this guy does. I'm writing a playground article on it right now.
Oh, right on. In the Discord chat, they posted. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, unfortunately, you can't see the image out on AIO, but there were some real challenges in capturing the image from the screen, converting it to base 64 because that's the conversion that's required to feed it to AIO. Yeah. And so I was reading the entire screen, and I was doing the base 64 conversion, and 7 minutes later, it uploaded this great image to AIO. And I thought, you know, if I leave the soldering iron on, a lot can happen in 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I started to work on it a little bit more, and instead of capturing the screen, I just capture the data directly from the sensor, and then I convert that to a bitmap file that then I upload, and I'm uploading like 1,000 bytes. So in 2 seconds, I can capture an image and get it right up to AIO.
That's a good idea.
Good hack.
And the coolest thing about AIO is that bitmap image gets interpolated into a much higher resolution display. And I wish I could show that. It almost looks like you've got a 300 element sensor that's looking at things because it interpolates it to increase the size.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sending 1,000 bytes. It takes 2 seconds to get up to go all the way to New York and show up on the server. And then I get this really great bitmap image that I can just embed right in my dashboard.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
The chat there's a couple things happening in the chat as you were showing stuff. The first one is, obviously everyone thinks it's a good idea because they leave their soldering irons on. And like, this is the thing about these type of projects. I just want to know if my basement floods. That's it. And like, you can start to do it. And then for you, it's like, oh, that's a neat side effect of being able to do this stuff. And then turns out I was writing and publishing the Carl and Jerry stories on Make in 2006.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So almost 20 years ago. And I think whatever came out afterwards, maybe it was the person I was working with who was getting those out and collected them all. His name was Jeff.
Let's see. well, they originally written by John Fry,
Yeah.
but they were collected by a guy in Scottsdale,
Yeah.
Herbert Breyer.
Yeah, not Jeff. Oh, but who knows? Maybe Jeff wasn't his name. I don't know.
Yeah, this was the guy that grew up with this stuff, and he got the
All right.
rights to publish it all. And oh yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so that you can check out the ones that we had in the chat, and I'll look around later for that book. I'm curious where the paths cross, because there had to be something. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you can check that out in the chat.
So little is known about the original author, John Fry.
Yeah.
He
It's a mystery
in Indiana, and that's about all they know.
Yeah, I thought when we put this on the Make site, like eventually somebody be like, "Oh, that's my dad." Like,
yeah,
bit of a mystery. It was like the guy who jumped out of the plane with all the money, Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, "Who is he?" No one knows. Okay.
All right,
well,
cool
we just talked about it again in this forum, and maybe his son is watching the show and tell.
Yeah, and if you send me a note, I'll post a link to the Make articles that I had, and then I think someone found Jeff's post about John Fry. So you know what? Maybe you just solved it. Who knows? A good Carl and Jerry mystery.
We can write a story about that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, CGrover.
All right, Mehdrad, close us out. How's it going? What's going on?
Hey everyone, nice to meet you all. First time here
Hello.
at Show and Tell, and
Welcome
I'm
aboard.
here to show an open source project that I've been working on. Yeah, it says I'm in the show. I cannot see you guys.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
why. Oh,
Yeah, we're here.
okay, okay. I can.
Yeah,
Okay, because
I
you're
put
not
your full
talking.
screen because I thought you were going to show something.
Yeah. So this
Oh, here
is
you
Pod. This is an open source
Ooh.
design around Raspberry Pi. So basically, it has a graphical user interface. So you can go here, like there's settings. I can go to settings, and you can have network, add
Oh, neat.
Wi-Fi. You know, it's basically a headless way to control Raspberry Pi,
Yeah.
and it has two microphones and a microphone switch, so you can turn off the microphone. Has the front camera here.
Yeah.
And I triggered the assistant, so it's listening to me now. Roger that. I'm gonna turn off the microphone. I have high false alarm rate on the.
Oh, cool.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, okay. I'm gonna ask some questions. So inside, I've got an open. So there are two basically variants. This one uses Pi 5, so it has the Pi 5 heatsink in the front camera. There are two speakers here. These get routed to the top module. So it's kind of a modular design. So this one kind of goes on the top and connect, and you can replace it. And I've been playing around with different designs in this, so we can have basically a simpler design. My internet is lagging a bit. And this is just like a plain PCB. And I designed this kind of sideboard that kind of connects to the Raspberry Pi inside. So it goes to the audio jack, the HDMI, and route them to the site to the HDMIs. And then it has a stemma QT connector. There are two stemma QT connectors. One is internal, one is external. So in the back, so if somebody wants to connect the sensor, stemma QT connector in the back, but then you can actually mount these inside. These are from Adafruit, actually, a bunch of different sensors, and then you can have kind of a mounting plate and create your own variants, basically. I'm kind of focusing more on the AI side of things because I personally want to build an AI system that is very customizable, so I can take speech to text from one engine, text to speech from another engine. I want to pick my own LLM. And then on Pi 5, you can actually run local models with Olama, small ones. I'm gonna turn on the microphone and ask a question. Hey there, what is the population of China? Roger that. Right now,
approximately 1.4 billion.
right now I have to say Roger that because well, I'm working on having different end of conversation detection. So there's this model that you can use for turn detection. So you can have like multiple roundabout conversations where you can go with silence detection. I don't personally like silence detection because I pause between my sentences for a little longer and then it gets confusing and it thinks I'm done.
This is neat
So
that
you can have it.
you know the different pieces of all this and
You-
you're able to
You
put
should
it
make
together.
you
This
should
is
make
cool.
the phrase be "make it so."
You can.
Make it so, yeah.
This is neat because this is like, this must be the theme tonight. So we're all starting to figure out what these AI tools are, and it would be nice for everyone to know how they work. You know, electronics, people don't know everything that goes inside the iPad either. It'd be nice to know
Exactly.
what these little things that we're having sound like us and act like us, how they work a little bit better.
Yeah, so on the software side, I have integrated a software called PipeCat, PIP-cat, and it's basically a very good pipeline. So you can pass audio, text, and video pipeline, and then different engines can pick these like data pipeline, and then you can feed, like for example, you can feed text to video, kind of like
Oh,
if you have
cool.
like an image generation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unifies all these different engines. So once you go on the PipeCat, pipeline, then you can, for example, there's this engine that I really love. It's called Moondream. So Moondream, you can give it a picture and ask what is in the picture. So
Yeah.
you can have motion detection, and whenever there's motion detected, you can pass that image to Moondream, and it's like explain what is in the picture, and it can tell
Yeah.
you there's like, I don't know, some guy is wearing holding a package, coming in front
Yeah.
of you or something like, so it can be more verbose and
Yeah.
explicit.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
real,
cool.
this is cool. If you're interested, drop me a note, pt@adafruit.com. There's probably a educational piece that could be like a playground guide, like, hey, you're interested in AI, like here's the choices you have if you want to try different models, or with multimodal AI, you can have image and text and they can mix, but unless you're doing this and keeping up with the day-to-day, it must
Right.
sound nutty to even, how would you start? Like, you have a Raspberry Pi, and that's where a lot of people could start because they have one in their drawer, and it's a local
Exactly.
model. So if you're interested, drop me a note.
Yeah, so one thing about the hardware is that people can DIY the hardware with things off the shelf. So basically, the audio is they can use the AI hat from Adafruit because it's like WM86 8960 chip, and the display is a little bit tricky because I have a unique bottom layout. But it's still a TFT. You can see the thing on the display, but the buttons you have to hack it a little bit together.
Right on.
And I'm really working to support different kinds of cameras. So there's a USB camera, and you don't have to connect a Raspberry Pi camera. So I'm trying to kind of make this more of an abstract thing. Bring your own camera, bring your own microphone, and if you like everything tucked into one piece of hardware, you can go with this route. And
In the chat,
I'm trying to
someone
get this
just said the
point.
Chumby too. Do you remember the Chumby from a long time ago?
No.
It was
nobody
no
remembers
one
the Chumby.
remembers. It came out right before the Raspberry Pi. It was does everything like IoT internet device before the Raspberry Pi, and Bunny, famous hacker, did it, and we thought it was great, and we're like, way before its time maybe, but didn't necessarily work out. But then Raspberry Pi came along. It's very Chumby too.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much. Come back.
Thank you.
And
I'm gonna post on the Discord channel about the article part. I would love to.
Please do.
For the community.
The big request that we've got is, it'd be great if these things could work to help manage your home.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I can't wait to like have all this work and then have it integrate with like Adafruit IO, where it could do, okay, I want data to be out over here, but I want it to be displayed, and that's a good thing for Adafruit IO to do. And the LLM that's running your house or whatever is not trying to do everything. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So
Cool.
anyway. Okay. Anyways.
Awesome. Bye.
That is our show for tonight. Thank you so much. We ran over 5 minutes because we're going to do Ask an Engineer a little bit later tonight. We have to finish doing Ask an Engineer, and then we're going to go live. So Ask an Engineer is not immediately. Just look for the announcement, tweet, Z,
9-ish, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna wrap up a couple things, and then there's a chummy right there in the chats. All right, thanks for joining
Thanks,
us, everybody. Every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Get a great look at the past, present, and future here. So
True.
people are building it.
Yes.
The only way to predict the future is to go on show and tell and show it.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.